We mentioned this issue of the NCAA and football stadiums. What do you think about what the NCAA is doing here in terms of still holding its event in Houston?
I think it's awful, Andy. I think that, that they're talking out of both sides of their mouths, actually. If you're going to create a safe and inclusive environment, you shouldn't have to create a separate place for individuals who identify as trans to go to the bathroom at. The NCAA does all of these inclusion activities every single year, but yet when push comes to shove, when they can actually, have their feet held to the actual fire, they still hold these events in these spaces that discriminate against individuals who identify as LGBT. So I actually think that everything that they're saying is crap. I'm just sorry.
Christina, what's your reaction?
Yeah, I think it's clearly not good enough. I mean, again, this is where local, essentially this is an issue created where trans people aren't doing anything illegal. There's been none of the safety, threat issues that have been raised by supporters of these kinds of discriminatory bills. They don't have anything to go on. They've basically made something up about one class of Americans, and then beyond that, have potentially criminalized their behavior. If the NCAA isn't against that and isn't, basically saying, well, for our one event, you'll be okay, but you're not okay, during the rest of the season or during all other activities, all sports activities, all NCAA activities, if they're not going to go out of their way to really step up on this front, it's just massively disappointing. It's far short of where they need to be in terms of reacting to what is effectively a governmental threat against American citizens who simply just need to go to the bathroom.
Jeff, what's the economic impact of moving a major sporting event?
The economic impact is huge. It's been estimated that the All-Star Game alone could bring $100 million into Charlotte. That is real money. We've also got the ESPN X Games that we're in the running for, and then we've got the NCAA issues coming up as well. Look, the real issue here, we mentioned Houston. Houston and Charlotte are one of the only two major cities in the country that did not have protection for LGBT folks. Charlotte stood up, tried to fix that, and we were punished by our governor for that. So my message is, recognize the difference between the good guys and the bad guys in this situation. Don't re-victimize Charlotte. Stand in solidarity with a group of people who stood up and said, we want to welcome everyone.
Caesar, how nervous were you that Governor Deal was actually going to pass this legislation and that Atlanta would be in the center of the storm as well?
Well, I'll tell you, I really applaud our governor for stepping up and understanding two things. Number one, that communities are successful when they're inclusive and diverse and welcoming to all people. He also understands how important it is from a business and economic development perspective. And really that's why, we put forth this resolution in the city of Atlanta, because we understand that the NBA or any other organization, NCAA, may be required to or may make a decision at very short notice to pivot and go in a different direction and change cities based upon how this conversation evolves, a very important conversation evolves. And so we just wanted to make sure that the NBA was well aware that we are prepared, ready, and able, and have the capacity and the infrastructure to host the All-Star Game again.
Wade, how much responsibility do other franchises have to speak up, even if it's not directly affecting their city or state?
I think that they first have to realize that it is a direct impact, right? So, MLK said that, an obstruction to violence anywhere is obstruction to violence for us all, and I think that when you see individuals like the Boston Celtics who speak up, and even Steph Curry, right, who was a little bit clumsy around it, who at least lend their voice to this conversation, then we see change happen. So I would hope that more athletes, more organizations speak up, especially individuals who have sons, daughters, wives, who are LGBT. I think it's really important that we increase the level of visibility around this conversation, because what this conversation really is trying to do is make invisible a group of people who are already highly marginalized.
Caesar, what was the reaction that you got from the NBA after sort of making this olive branch offer to get the All-Star Game?
Well, of course, the NBA has indicated that it intends to work with Charlotte to see if there's a way to continue to host the game there in Charlotte. And of course, we understand that, and certainly we empathize with Charlotte, and certainly believe Charlotte is an important city in the Southeast, just like Atlanta. We just want to make sure that the NBA knows that if they have to pivot very quickly, we are here and we're ready and willing to step up and help address this issue by hosting the games in Atlanta, or the game in Atlanta.
Jeff, what do you think the chances are that Charlotte will host the 2017 NBA All-Star Game?
I think the chances are really good. I think we're going to end up hosting that game. I think we're going to put on a world-class event. We're going to show the country that North Carolina is a state that welcomes people, that Charlotte is a state that welcomes people, that every once in a while we have some politicians do some crazy things that deeply embarrass the rest of us, but we are good people, and we're going to have a great time here in Charlotte in 2017 with the All-Star Game.